All right, guys, here's another BG perspective. As always, leave a comment down below, like and subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you can get notified every time we upload.
Guys, tell me why my mortgage went from, don't judge me here, $3,200 a month to $5,600 a month. Backstory here is I was looking for a house back in 2022, and I put in offers on multiple homes. So we decided to go, they got declined, and they wanted 50 to 60 grand over asking price for the homes with no contingencies and all that kind of stuff. Long story short, I bought a new home with Ryan Homes. The worst decision I've ever made in my life, I swear to God, and I am paying for it till right now. Long story short, I'm actually selling that home right now. Bought a mortgage with Ryan Homes, and I am the last house that's built on this subdivision, the absolute last house. When I signed on the dotted line, my mortgage was 32 and some change. And I was fine with that because that's what I expected, the size of the home, X, Y, Z, yada, yada, yada. Come to find out that, again, I had a realtor during this time, but with new construction, Ryan Homes doesn't pay the realtor a commission. So I was like, well, okay. I'm not going to ask him to come in and do any kind of work because he's not going to get compensated for it. So I let him know what I was doing, and then ended up being no realtor. So anyway, next thing I know, I get the first tax bill on the property with land. On the property with the home built. The taxes were $16,000. $16,000. So that's not not the half of it. So I then go call, like, hey, is this right? Is this correct? Like, yeah, that's your correct property taxes. We're not sure why, but Ryan Holmes should did your estimate based off what your taxes could be on the home because you're the last home built. So there's plenty of comps in the area that they can use as, hey, your taxes could be this. However, they use taxes off the land because it's going to show you a cheaper mortgage. Okay, so I'm like, okay, so what do you have to do? Well, you got to pay them so your property taxes go up. Okay. The next part of this is that being that my property taxes will be this, and being that the property taxes were underestimated for that year of 2023, I believe it was. Now my escrow account is negative $11,000. My escrow account is negative $11,000 because Ryan Homes only used property taxes on the land. So now I not only have to get my current property taxes updated into my mortgage, now I have the rears back taxes in my mortgage. People, when I tell you I almost lost my shit, I did lose my shit. I'm not gonna lie, I lost my shit. I completely lost my shit because this is something they don't tell you about new construction. And people will say, oh, you should have had your realtor, you should have had your attorney. And that, I guess I take the hit on that because I'm thinking I'm not going to use my realtor who I've been using to show me these houses because Ryan Homes, they don't pay a commission off the sale. So I'm like, man, that's not right. I'm not going to use my realtor to come in and do free work. I'm going to have to pay out of pocket for my realtor. And then So mortgage went from $32 to $5,600 a month. And I'm like, yo, this can't be right. So now I'm looking up property taxes in Libertyville and Vernon Hills on houses that are places, nicer areas than this. This is Antioch, Illinois. No knock against Antioch, but it's not Libertyville, it's not Vernon Hills. It's nothing. There's no restaurants. I mean, there is a few, but it's not built out like that. The infrastructure isn't in place like those places is. And I'm just kind of like, what the So, long story short, I know I said that before, but this fast forward. I'm sorry saying that. Fast forward. Unfortunately, the home that I thought I was going to be in for 7, 10 years, that my kids would grow up in, I'm selling. I'm selling that home because we can't afford it, and I refuse to be house poor and paying for a house that I'm just trying to keep up with. There's no way possible I'm going to. And let me say this too: is that the mortgage will end up being, even if I didn't have the taxes in the rear, escrow account, the mortgage will still end up being. I did the math. It was like 4,000 something a month, right? Because my principal and interest was like 27. The property tax was like another 13 something. So it was like 4,100 a month. No, absolutely not. I refuse to pay $4,100 on a house, property taxes on that amount, and you don't have anything to go off of. So, yeah, guys, if you are thinking of doing new construction, if you are thinking going with a Ryan Homes, if you are thinking going with any new construction, any new development, specifically Ryan Homes, make sure that you look on that paper and it doesn't say, when it says taxes, make sure you ask them, is this property on the house after it's built what it could be or before? Because if you see something that says, unless you're in a different area, stuff like that, I get it. I'm in Antioch, Illinois. If you see something that's like $2,000 or $3,000, property taxes, make sure you ask them, hey, is this on before the house is built or after the house is built? Because they can estimate what your taxes are going to be based off what they sold you the house for, right? They can do that. So, will they? Probably not. But again, Ryan Homes, because you screwed me. You have effed over my life, and this has set me back tremendously. I did a lot of hard work to build my credit, save money for a home, and I just gave it away because it's crazy. There should be something in the laws that says new construction builders should have to show you property taxes on what the home value, what your property taxes are going to be, because that would change everything. That would change your mortgage. That would change everything. And I would have told them, no, I'm good. I'm not buying this. I'm gonna keep looking. But it is what it is. Looking for a new home. Here's to chapter 2, starting all over again.
Y'all, that escrow stuff that's been going around on this TikTok is real. So listen up, if you are a future homeowner, a current homeowner, or you're trying to get a construction on a new build, like this video's for you. Okay, so I purchased a home April 24th of 2024, okay? That is key. And I've been paying it on time, paying a little bit more than I have to because, I want to get this mortgage knocked out. Long story short, why I go on my app to check my mortgage status just to kind of see where I'm at, because some told me to check it, and my mortgage went up $400. $400, like $400. All right, so I'm crashing out. Like, I'm so crashing out. Like, I literally called the mortgage company. I'm like, yo, boom, check it. What's going on? I'm not behind. I've been paying on time. Like, how does your mortgage for a fixed mortgage go up $400? Like, I need some explanation. Like, y'all got to tell me something. The lady goes and tell me, ma'am, you had a shortage in your escrow. You had like, let's say $1,700, $1,800 for your escrow, but your property taxes was $3,600. Anyways, when y'all new to the mortgage world, this sounds like Spanish. Like, what does that mean? Like, going back and forth with her, like, explain to me, like, you can't tell me what the shortage is. Like, what is it? So we go back and forth. Like, we on the phone like an hour, 28 minutes, y'all. No lie, because to me, I'm not going to agree to something that I don't understand. Like, you got to, I don't care if you have to break it down to like baby terms. You got to explain it to me so I can understand. I want to be off that call like, okay, I get it. My call has been resolved. So boom, check it. Next. So at this point, she low-key don't really know too much of what she's talking about, because she kind of put me on hold several times, talking to a supervisor, coming back on the phone. Then finally, she mentioned that the amount that you owe is from the taxes, the property taxes on your property. You had about $1,800 for property taxes in your escrow, which escrow is like this account that kind of holds your insurance fees and your property taxes fees. She said that I only had $1,800 in there, and when they got the paper from my tax assessor office, I owed $3,600 for the property. So when she said annual, something dawned on me. Like I said, ma'am, annual like the last 12 months, or annual, you just said annual because it's last year. She said the last 12 months. So now I'm like, okay, bet. I moved in there April 24 of 2024. I wasn't there 12 months. And the way she said it runs from October of the previous year to October of the current year. So, ma'am, I only need to be paying for May, June, July, August, September, October. October of last year up to April, I'm not responsible for that. Y'all not gonna get me for that. So then she was like, oh, well, ma'am, I've seen this before. You need to get in contact with your tax assessor office. Well, there's two issues with that. Ma'am, if you've seen this before, we should have been on the phone for an hour and 28 minutes. You could have said, hey, maybe it's something to do with your tax assessor. You could have started that off 3 minutes into the call, but you didn't. So you really didn't know what you was talking about. But anyway, boom, the next day I called the tax assessor office. They say they don't do no prorations. The person who was supposed to do the proration would have been the closing office. You need to talk to the closing people. So I'm like, all right. So I'm back on the hunting trail. I called the closing people. Oh, and I forgot to mention, the tax assessor office said I should have gotten either like a refund check for the days that the previous owner/seller was responsible for the taxes, or I would have gotten a credit on my closing costs for the amount that he needed to pay for the time frame that it was under his name. All right, so boom, now I called the closing company. I called the closing company, and I'm trying to explain to the lady what the previous two people explained to me. First and foremost, let me tell you something. You guys going to have to advocate for yourselves because nobody else is going to do it. Me and this lady went back and forth for like almost 30 minutes. She kept saying that the amount that I'm supposed to be charged is accurate and that this, that, and the third, the cost is the cost. I offered to put her on the three-way with the tax assessor office because maybe I was not communicating it effectively. Maybe she wasn't getting what I was coming from. She was not picking up what I was putting down. I told the lady, hey, get the calculator out. We can go over the numbers. Numbers don't lie. She did not want to do any of that. She kept saying, they're going to tell you the same thing I'm telling you now. The amounts is accurate. We gave you a credit of $131. First of all, $131 compared to $3,600 for the year, baby, you didn't give me nothing. So we're gonna dispute that. So then after a while, she literally says, look, I'm not gonna go in circles with you. Like, the cost is the cost. I don't know what else you want to tell me. So at that point, I got frustrated. I got sister girl on her. I ain't finna lie. It's Black History Month. You saying the wrong thing. So I told her, let me speak to your supervisor. She said, I got several supervisors. I said, let me speak to all of them. Give me a list of all of their names and the contact information. That's when she's like, wait a minute. It looks like we got off the wrong foot, blah, 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 blah. So anyways, I told her, I said, ma'am, you got 59 minutes to figure this out because in 60 minutes, I will be up in that office. I guarantee you. Well, at that point, I called my husband because I'm letting him know what's going on. She called me within 20 minutes of being on the conversation, being on the phone with my husband. Why she gonna say, ma'am, I just want to apologize. I sincerely want to apologize. Long story short, get this, y'all. Long story short, we charge you taxes based off of when it was a plot of land. So pretty much before my house was built on that land, they charged me the taxes on that land. The moment construction happened on that land, the tax was supposed to be appraised for the property of a structure on that land. So it went from $238 in property taxes a year for the land to $3,600 in property taxes a year for that land. So pretty much, homeboy, the seller, is responsible for 7 months. And I'm due a credit of over $2,000. But mind you, I would not have gotten to that position with her if I did not advocate for myself. So if you are building on a new land, a new construction on land, or if you just purchased new land, you need to call let me save you the time. Call the lending closing company who did your paperwork and make sure that they're appraising taxes on the land that has a structure on it and not just the land. It will save you thousands of dollars and you will be getting a refund check like myself. They're working on giving that check. And you can go ahead and give it to the mortgage company so that you are not in a due for escrow. You're not in a negative for your escrow. Learn from their mistakes because I didn't make no mistake, but I did the due diligence to find out that there was an issue.
If you're buying a brand new home, you have to understand this disclosure right here. Now, this is where people get in trouble and they get confused. This is that payment from here. This is your escrow account. There is no way your property tax and your insurance is going to be covered by $127 a month. It's not going to happen. But they're allowed to tell you your estimated total payment is the combination of those two. So you pay that for a year and a half. However, they disclose to you that your escrow needs to have $513 a month in it. But they say property taxes, some of them are included in this payment. And they say that homeowners insurance is included and the HOA is not included in there. So if you get this statement, please send it to anyone you know buying a new home, because they need to understand this. Their payment is going to be this plus this. And if they're not saving the difference between those two numbers, they're going to have a payment shock. The reason why is your taxes are paid in arrears. So the first year you pay, they'll reevaluate and then they'll say, hey, there's a house on this land now. The tax is going to go up to this. And the escrow account's like, all right, cool. We just paid last year's. No harm, no foul. Then you pay a whole nother year and then they say, uh-oh, you're $300, $400 a month short. So moving into next year, we're going to have to collect that $300 to $400 a month short, and you're going to have to pay $300 to $400 a month more, making your payment $600 to $800 a month more to cover last year and the future, because your payment should have never been this number. I do not know how they're allowed to tell you that's your estimated total monthly payment, because it's not true. It's true in the fact that that's what the taxes are now, but they know damn well there's a house there because they're financing the entire house with the land that's just been built. If you want more in depth about this process, if you don't understand it through the numbers, click the link in the original video. I go through like a 5-minute video of a lot of how insurance taxes can change. Insurance is paid ahead of time, so you can't get behind on it. Whereas taxes is paid in arrears, so you can get behind, so it doubles up and it jumps your payment shock, blah, 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 all that fun stuff. But this is why I love social media, because that video blew up. Hopefully this one does too, and it can help save people falling into this payment shock. And again, this is Florida. I've heard that other places send out payment shock letters, and that's nice because there's no reason people should be thinking that this is their payment for 30 years. When it literally shows you it should be 513 plus 1564. It's right there and right there. They just get away with, I don't know why they can't just make this.
They got me, y'all. And I knew they was gonna get me, but I didn't know they was gonna get me this hard. It's only been 6 months in this bitch. And my mortgage is going up $700. I knew it was gonna be crazy because the previous owners, like the people who bought it to renovate it, they were only paying land value, even though the house had been on the market with this current rate and a current county appraisal for X amount of months. But I don't know, somehow they only were paying land value. And then I lost my ID twice. It took them 3 months to send me an ID right before the election, so I wasn't able to file my homestead exemption. And my escrow now has an overage of the amount that I owe in taxes, which is going to put my payment up $700. So yeah, hey. And I don't want this to discourage you from purchasing a home. It's just something to keep in mind. And I also knew this when buying, because my loan officer said that there was no real way for them to get an accurate, which, I mean, he kind of told me that it was going to go up, and it may have went up drastically, and this was going to, the way that they were doing it this year was so that I wouldn't feel the effects. But I would have rather been paying how much I was supposed to be paying all along, rather than have such a huge shortage. And he was even confused when looking at how much they were paying in taxes, because it hadn't even updated to what the home value is now. They were like paying maybe $2,000 in taxes a year for the home that I'm in. And that wasn't with homestead exemption. So I'm not sure how I ended up so much in the hole. Yeah.
So that's it for today's video. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section. And as always, stay tuned for the next video. Peace.